Welcome back to the next class of natural language processing. In this class, we are going to learn about morphological parsing. Morphological parsing is used to identify and find the number of morphemes in a given word. So, morphemes are the smallest indivisible meaningful unit of a language which builds a word. Right? A word can have two types of morphemes. First is called the stem, and the another one is called as the affixes. Stem is nothing but the root word through which the word is formed, and affixes can be of three types as the prefix, infix, and suffix. Example of a word is mangoes, and this word is divided into two morphemes as the root word and the affixes, that is the stem and suffix. Right, so this is made up of mango plus es. Here, the mango is the root word and es is the suffix. So these two, the root word and the suffix combines together to form mangoes. Right. So the step to design morphological parser consists of three steps as the lexicon, the morphotactics, and the orthographic rules. So, a lexicon is nothing but they are used to store the basic information about the word, like whether the word is a stem or a suffix or affix. If it is a stem, then whether it is a verb stem or a noun stem. If it is affix, then whether it is a prefix, infix, or a suffix. Then morphotactics are nothing but set of rules and that are used to make certain decisions about a word, whether it should appear uh, before, after, or in between certain words. Right. For example, consider a word usableness. So here there are certain morphotactic rules that decides that use will act as a prefix of able and ness will act as a suffix of able. So it would generate a word usableness. So this word usableness, these three words which is formed by using three words usableness and that follows the rules of morphotactics. They obey the rules of morphotactics. Thus the usableness word is correct. Whereas if you arrange these three words as able useness, then the word that would be formed is able useness. Here, able is not allowed to act as a prefix of use, and ness is not allowed to act as a suffix of use. This word does not obeys the rule of morphotactics, therefore it is invalid. Right? This word cannot be formed. So such kind of rules that decide whether a word could appear before, after, or in between certain words are called as morphotactics. And orthographic rules, these are nothing but set of rules that are used to decide the changes in the spelling. There are certain words that changes the spelling when converted from one form to another, like lady is a word, when we convert it to plural, it is not like just by adding s, like lady plus s will give you plural. General rule is there for plural, but when you convert lady to plural, by simply adding s, it would produce lady by s. This is incorrect transition, right? Of lady to plural, right? This is incorrect. So there are certain rules that would decide the changes of the spelling, how these changes should be done. These rules are called as the orthographic rules. Here it does not obey the orthographic rules, therefore this is incorrect. Similarly, if we want to use, if we want to convert lady to plural form, then when we add s to it, it would make changes in the spelling of lady, so it would become ladies. So y would be replaced by ies. So such kind of rules are defined by the orthographic rules. Another example is knife. The plural of knives is knives, so there is a spelling change. So the rules related to the change in the spelling of a word when we convert it from one form to another form, like from singular to plural, uh, is decided by the orthographic rules. So these two words are correct because they obey the orthographic rule. And then morphological analysis, it is nothing but the study of how the word is made or the making of word. Then some words, there are different kinds of words, amongst which some words have their own meaning. Right? For example, camera. So these kind of words are the words that produces an image of an object or that particular thing in your mind when you just hear or read that particular word. Like camera, when I say camera, immediately a picture of camera appears in your mind. Like board, and another example is pen also. Whenever I say pen, immediately image of pen appears in your mind, right? So these words are there that have their own meaning and that can be imagined. Then some words are there which when divided into different words, then these new words that are formed by using these words have their own meaning. Like an example is showcase. When you divide this showcase based on its morphology, you will get a stem word and affix as show and case. So this new word show has its own meaning, as well as the suffix that is obtained as case has also has its own meaning, right? So some words are there that produces different words with their own meaning. Another example is cocktail. So here it is divided as cock and tail. Again, cock have its own meaning and tail has its meaning, right? So these are the other kind of words. Similarly, there are another kind of words which does not have their own meaning, but when they are combined with other words, they have certain meanings, so the word become meaningful. Like ing words, right? So when you add ing to any word, it becomes meaningful. Like by adding ing to play, it becomes playing, and by adding ing to kill, it becomes killing. Thus, the detailed study of making of word is called as the morphological analysis. Then, for this morphological analysis, we make use of finite state automata. So, finite state automata is defined as M equals to Q sigma delta Q0 and F, where Q is nothing but the finite non-empty set of states. Sigma is finite set of input symbols. Delta is the transition mapping given by Q into sigma derives to Q, and Q into sigma derives to 2 to the power Q. Q, which is nothing but power set of Q. This is for deterministic finite automata, and this is for non-deterministic finite automata. Then Q0 is the initial state of the finite automata. F is the finite set of final states, which is nothing but subset of Q. An example of finite automata is a push button, which has two states as off state and on state. Let us consider off with the initial state and on is the final state. So when you give an input in the off state as push, it transits the state to on state, and the apparatus is on. Then again, when you push, give an input in this new state as push, it transit again back to the off state. So this is the working of a finite state automata, that in a particular state you give the input, it transit to some other state, and then this combination is fixed. So this is called as the transition diagram of finite automata. Then this finite automata can also be used for morphology. So morphology means again the study of words or the making of word. We have also seen that words, there are two types of morphemes as the stem and affixes. Stem are the root words, and affixes can be prefix, infix, or suffix. Consider word success. This can be represented by finite automata as a stem word. You start from the initial state Q0, read a stem and reach a final state Q1. Then you can add a prefix to this success word and it becomes unsuccess. So you again start from initial state, read a prefix un and go to intermediate state. From that intermediate state, you read a stem word, it is success, and reach a final state. So in this way, by adding a prefix to stem, you can read a prefix and stem. Similarly, for suffix, you can read stem and then followed by suffix to reach a final state. And you can have both prefix and suffix together in a particular word, so that you can at the start read a prefix, then stem, and then a suffix to reach a final state. So these are four different automata to read the same kind of words, out of which some are suffix, some are prefix, some are uh, you can say root word, and some are infix. Right. So this four different automata can be merged together to form a single automata or non-deterministic finite automata to accept all these four words simply by adding epsilon transition. So this is the new automata that can read all these four words, and this automata we have already studied in uh, theory of computation. So this is a merged combination of all these automatas that will accept success, unsuccess, successful, and unsuccessful, and moist also. Then some words are there wherein the spelling of the root word, that is the stem, changes. So these words are called as irregular words. So some irregular word requires stem changes. For example, goose is a noun word that changes the spelling in its plural form as geese. A mouse becomes mice, and teach become taught in past tense. So these are few examples of irregular word, like go become went in past tense. These are few example of irregular word wherein the spelling of the word changes, and this spelling are taken care by the orthographic rules we have already seen, right? So there are certain regular noun wherein there is no change, like fox, cat, dogs. In simple we add s or es form. Then irregular plural noun are there, which changes the spelling of the word, like geese in plural becomes goose in singular. Sheep is the word that is same in singular and plural, and mice and mouse. These are the example we have seen, right? So this can be represented by a finite automata like this, a generalized for a finite automata for accepting these stem changes or the general words. If it is regular, simply go to q1, and then from there you read a s or es and reach a final state, or simple accept the regular word by reaching a final state. And if it is a irregular word, then we use another path, a particular path for singular conversion and another path for plural conversion. This can be expanded for few words, which we have seen over here as follows. We start from the initial state, read a dog and reach a particular state, and then from there you read epsilon and reach a final state to accept dog. Similarly, cats can be accepted by reading cat from and reaching a particular state, and after that reading s and reaching a final state. So this automata now can accept cat, cats, dog, and dogs, the four different words that can be accepted by this automata. And similarly, for accepting goose you can use this path, and then for accepting geese you can use this path, right? So this automata is simple expansion of this particular automata that would accept certain words or stems, mm, or irregular words, right? So this is a simple expansion for few words. In this way you can generate uh, more complex automata for accepting this kind of words. Then recognition versus analysis. So finite state automata is basically used to recognize or accept a particular string. But this finite state automata cannot tell about anything about the internal structure of the word. Whereas a machine is required here. In case of morphological analysis, we need to study the structure of the word, right? Internal structure of the words. For that, we need a machine that would map or transduce the input string into an output string, and the output string will be nothing but it would encode the internal structure of the word, right? Or vice versa, right? So we have something called as finite state transducers, that is nothing but a modified finite state automata, and it has two tapes as input and output tapes. So these two tapes are called as the lexical tape and the surface tape. Any of these two tapes can act as the input tape or the output tape. Like surface tape represents the actual word that we are discussing, whereas as shown here, cats, which is the represented on the surface tape because it is the actual words, and the lexical tape represents the internal structure of this word, like cat plus noun plus plural. So this indicates that the word which is on the surface tape is cat, which is a noun, and it is in its plural form. So you can consider any of the tape as the input tape and produce another tape as the output. Suppose you are considering the actual word as the input and you want the internal structure, then your surface tape will act as the input word, whereas the lexical tape will act as the output tape. Similarly, if you have the internal structure of the word and you want to generate the word itself, then you can consider the lexical tape as the input tape, and then surface tape will be the output tape. So you can use any of these two tapes as either an input tape or an output tape. In finite state transducers, a formal language is not the natural language, but it can be used to model part of a natural language, such as phonology, morphology, and for syntax also it can be used. and there are many other things that can be done through finite state formal languages, right? Then FSTs and FSAs are similar, but FSTs are finite state automata with two types, right? So FST is 7 tuple represented as T equals to Q sigma gamma Q0 F delta lambda, where Q is the finite set of states, sigma is finite set of input symbols. You can say finite for Q, you can say finite non-empty set of states also. Gamma is the finite set of output symbols. Q0 is initial state. F is subset of Q, which is nothing but set of final state. And delta, as we know, it is the transition map function mapping given as Q into sigma derives to 2 to the power Q, because these are non-deterministic finite. And lambda is the output function mapping given as lambda by Q into sigma union epsilon derives to Q into gamma union epsilon. Consider an example where the states are represented as 0 and 1, input symbols are A and B, and the output symbols are X, Y, Z. So the lambda, that is output function mapping, can be represented as follows, where sigma union epsilon is AB epsilon, and gamma union epsilon is XYZ epsilon. So the transition output function mapping lambda is represented this way, where this is combination of a state and input symbol, all the state and all the input symbol. Here we need to add an additional uh, symbol, that would be using 0 comma epsilon, and there should be again 1 comma epsilon over here in this mapping. This is missing over here. Then this is another, that is the output mapping will produce output mapping as 0 comma x, 0 comma y, 0 comma z, 0 comma epsilon, and 1 comma x, 1 comma y, 1 comma z, and 1 comma epsilon. So this is the output function mapping represented by the finite state transducers. In the next class, we'll see we'll look at the example on finite state transducer. Thank you.